Hello and welcome back to Pathshala. In this session, we will discuss circulation of blood in human heart. So, in human heart, the blood actually circulates twice in a complete cardiac cycle. Now, what is cardiac cycle? As I discussed in previous class, total time taken for a heart to beat is 0.85 seconds, and this is a series of three events. Means the very first event is contraction of auricle that occurs for 0.15 seconds. Then the second event is contraction of ventricles, that is lasts for 0.30 seconds, and third event is relaxation period that lasts for 0.40 second, and all these three events took the total time 0.85 second. This is the time period for one heartbeat, or this can be can be concluded that to complete a total cycle, a heart takes 0.85 second, and this 0.85 second is known as cardiac cycle. So one cardiac cycle takes 0.85 second. So in one cardiac cycle, blood flows twice in heart, and in human heart this circulation type is known as double circulation. So let us discuss this double circulation events one by one. So what happens is, first, both the auricles or both the atrium fills with blood, and both the ventricle also then fills with blood, and the circulation of blood actually occurs in two different stages. For oxygenated blood, that is, we know that the left side of the heart carries the oxygenated blood and the right side carries the deoxygenated blood. So the circulation or double circulation occurs in two different stages. First one is known as systemic circulation. Systemic circulation means when blood travels from heart to body part, means different body organs, is known as systemic circulation. In this case, what happens is, first, oxygenated blood enters firstly into left auricle. So oxygenated blood first enter into left auricle, then left auricle contracts, the bicuspid valve opens, and the left ventricle is full of blood. So the blood passes through left ventricle. When the left ventricle is full of blood, then it contracts, and the blood pushes forcefully into the dorsal aorta. So left ventricle forces its blood content into dorsal aorta. Then dorsal aorta dorsal aorta then branched off into many arterioles, which then again branched off into capillaries. Then this capillaries reaches into tissues in our body, different tissues in our different body parts, and the oxygen content in blood simply diffuses out from this capillary to tissues, and also the carbon dioxide that produced as a byproduct in metabolism process or in respiration process diffuses into the capillary blood. So the capillaries then branched off, or the capillaries then unite to form veins, and these veins or the venules actually join to form the from the upper portion of our body. All the venules join to form the superior vena cava, and the from all the venules that are present in our lower body part unite to form the inferior vena cava, and the veins drains of their deoxygenated blood into the right atrium. So the blood that flows from heart to body part is known as systemic circulation. What happened first? The left auricle fills with oxygenated blood that comes from the lungs, and the oxygenated blood then the left auricle then pumps the oxygenated blood into the left ventricle. Left ventricle then contracts and forces its blood to enter into the dorsal aorta. This is the dorsal aorta. Then dorsal aorta then branched off into many arterioles, and then arterioles also branched off into many capillaries to in the tissues, and the oxygen diffuses out from the capillaries to tissues, and the carbon dioxide that produced in the tissues or cells rather it diffuses back into the capillaries. Then capillaries unite to form venules, venules unite to form veins, and the veins drains the deoxygenated blood into right atrium, means the blood is back into the heart. So this circulation system is known as systemic circulation. Then let us discuss the second type of circulation. Second type of circulation is pulmonary circulation. What happened in pulmonary circulation is, when the right atrium fills with deoxygenated blood, it pumps its blood content, or the right atrium contracts to contracts, and the blood means the deoxygenated blood forcefully enter into the right ventricle. Then right ventricle also contracts to forcefully contracts, and the blood forcefully enter into the pulmonary arteries. So this is the pulmonary arteries. So the blood enter into the pulmonary artery, and this pulmonary artery consisted of the deoxygenated blood. Then the pulmonary artery carries the deoxygenated blood to the lungs, and lungs, the deoxygenated blood get oxygenated, and the oxygenated blood then again return to heart via the pulmonary veins. So this is the pulmonary veins. So in pulmonary circulation, the blood flows in between heart to lung. what happened is, firstly, the deoxygenated blood flows into the right auricle. Then the right auricle constricts and the blood forcefully enters into the right ventricle. From right ventricle, the blood enters into the pulmonary artery. We already discussed that pulmonary artery conducts, or pulmonary artery, in pulmonary artery deoxygenated blood flows, and in pulmonary vein carries the oxygenated blood. That is the only exceptional case, but rest of our arteries carry the oxygenated blood, and rest of our veins except the pulmonary vein carries the deoxygenated blood. So the deoxygenated blood enter into the pulmonary artery, and pulmonary artery then sends the deoxygenated blood, or carries this deoxygenated blood into both the lungs. And in lungs, when the blood gets oxygenated, then it moves back into the heart via the pulmonary vein, and the pulmonary vein then drains off the oxygenated blood into the left auricle. So this is the full cycle or full circulation process of pulmonary circulation. Means from the deoxygenated blood from whole body enters into the right auricle, then the right auricle contracts and the blood enters into the right ventricle then contracts, and the blood forcefully passes into the pulmonary artery carry the oxygenated blood into both the lungs, and in both lungs the blood actually purifies, and the purified blood then, or the oxygenated blood then carried out by the pulmonary vein, and it drains its contents into the left side of the artery. So if we denote the circulation process of oxygenated and deoxygenated blood, then we can easily see that left side, I am denoting this oxygenated blood via this red ink and deoxygenated blood via green ink. So firstly, in systemic circulation, the oxygenated blood enter into the left auricle, then into the left ventricle, then into the dorsal aorta. This is the dorsal aorta. Then dorsal aorta carries this oxygenated blood, and it branched into many arterioles, then arterioles into capillaries, and then capillaries, and in capillaries the diffusion process occurs, and the capillaries contains the deoxygenated blood that takes the carbon dioxide from the tissues, and the deoxygenated blood then carried out via the inferior vena cava and superior vena cava, and the deoxygenated blood enters into the right auricle. Then right auricle contracts, and the the blood, the deoxygenated blood fills into the left ventricle. Then left ventricle contracts, and the blood passes into the pulmonary artery, and the pulmonary artery sends its blood content into both the lungs, and in lungs the blood gets oxygenated, and the oxygenated blood then enters into the pulmonary vein, and pulmonary vein drains its oxygenated blood into the left auricle, and again the cycle occurs. So this is one full cycle or full circulation process. So this is known as double circulation. Double circulation occurs in humans as well as in birds. to maintain their body temperature. And it is important because in this case the oxygenated blood and the deoxygenated blood never mixes up with one another. So we can easily maintain, or our body can easily maintain our body temperature from the outer environment. And this is important to maintain our body circulation or body processes. But in some animals, like in amphibians or in case of uh, reptilians, they actually have three chambered heart. The amphibians has three chamber in their heart, and the reptiles have partially divided three chambers. So partially divided four chamber heart means their auricles are fully divided, but their ventricles are not fully divided, they are partially divided. So there is a mixing of blood in their heart occurs, and this causes incomplete double circulation process. Both their atrium, means the right atrium, receives the oxygenated blood, and their right atrium receives the deoxygenated blood. Left atrium receives the oxygenated blood and right atrium receives the deoxygenated blood. But when they pour their content into the ventricle, due to absence of any deviation in the ventricle, the blood mixes up and the mixed kind of blood flows into their body. So they exerts the incomplete double circulation process. Next is the single circulation process. Fishes have only two chambers in their heart. There is one atrium and one ventricle in their heart. So the blood gets oxygenated directly by the gills. So the capillaries that present or the arteries that are present in gills gets oxygen directly from the gills, and the blood directly passes into the whole body of the fish. And when it passes into the whole body, or when it transfer, or when the blood travels into whole body, after the body parts receive the oxygenated blood, then the oxygen diffuses off from the blood vessel, and the carbon dioxide generated by the various activity in their body diffuses into the blood vessel, and the blood or the deoxygenated blood carried to their heart. So they actually, or their heart actually exerts a single circulation process, or one time circulation of blood. Here two times circulation of blood takes place, but in case of fishes there is only single time blood flows in their heart. So they exerts a single circulation process. So there are in vertebrates, in fishes there is single circulation process. In amphibians and in case of reptiles there is incomplete double circulation, as their heart is three chambered or partially divided chambers. And in case of bird and mammals they exerts complete double circulation process. So thank you so much for today's session. We will meet with new topic in next session. Thank you so much.